We already converted. We have our experience. We want the temporary able-bodied to join us, so that when we speak, they get converted and they support their community. Therefore, I request that you support us to ensure that this day is gazetted. Right Honorable Speaker, this grant is too little. To lift me up from my family to go to a school needs a lot compared to any other person. Therefore, saying that for youth we are giving this, women we are giving this, elderly we are giving this, and comparing us with this category does not help us. We need to be highly supported compared to other special interest groups, because our needs, our demands are more expensive and they are multiple. Right Honorable Speaker, in the area of education,
Honourable members, we have taken more than an hour on this issue, but just because it's important, I allowed members to contribute. But I think we need to end it there. And I encourage you to go to the celebrations. Now, the Minister of Public Services here, he has heard the plea from Honourable Ababiku. I hope you can consider it and come back to us. Honourable Karubanga, why have you not yet gazetted the PWD's day? Please come back to us with an answer. Secondly, Honourable members, I've told you about a place where I went on Friday. When I was invited, I thought I was visiting an association, but I was shocked up to the core, because the entire village is a village of blind people. Blind men, blind women, and their children, PWDs. I was in shock. So I want to encourage the Minister for Gender to go to a village called Lubu in Bukatube sub-county in Mayuge. The whole village is a camp of blind people. So you can imagine a meeting with all of them, with their children, this, that. Yes, in fact, I want to write to the President to see whether they can get money under the other grant. I was just in shock, but that's what it is. We need to do something about it. Then, honourable members, join me in welcoming from Kalaki County. It's no longer Kaviramaidu, it's Kalaki District. The Honourable, there is delegation there. You are the ones from Kalaki? Please stand up, stand up. So here they are represented by Honourable Ajilo and Honourable Ongalo. You are welcome. Okay. No, please. No. Let's go to the next item.
Item number 3.4. Statement by Minister on the schedule of priorities for the utilization of the available 20 billion for emergency response to disaster situations in the country.
Minister of Disaster Preparedness. But he has been here.
Madam Speaker, as he comes in, the Minister of State for Health can help the Minister for Disaster, because there are some issues. Oh, he's coming.
I must apologize, Madam Speaker. I was responding to some emergency. Right Honourable Speaker, Parliament on Tuesday, 26th of November 2019, directed that the Office of the Prime Minister should present to the House life-saving relief response plan for victims of current flooding and destructive winds and hailstorms. Whereas massive damage has been done to roads, bridges, plantations, school buildings, etc., our immediate focus now is on life-saving by one, providing shelter to those whose houses have been either washed away or collapsed. Two, providing tarpaulins on which to dry household items, and also for the rural people to put at least their beddings in the villages, particularly where water is oozing from underground. 3, provide blankets to shield them from the cold that is threatening to give them diseases like pneumonia. 4, provide clean water containers. Right Honorable Speaker, yesterday I did indicate that in some areas it has been confirmed that the boreholes unfortunately have mixed with fecal matter, and therefore there is need for clean vessels. Right Honorable Speaker, providing relief food, then providing treated mosquito nets, and providing culverts to rescue populations cut off from accessing vital services such as medical service units. The immediate relief food and non-food requirements are presented in the table that I will draw the attention of the colleagues to look at. For example, we want 20,000 tarpaulins with the money that we finance committed yesterday, 12,000 blankets. We need some jerrycans to prevent people from catching cholera. We need iron sheets. Initially, we had not looked at iron sheets, but Right Honorable Speaker, on meetings that took place last evening after here, it turned out that there are some communities that have lost houses to storms and may not fall within what we call like government support in form of rehabilitating a health center or a school, and therefore communities might need help like we did in Buyende. Relief food items have also been indicated as in the table. Right Honorable Speaker, I just wanted to look at one thing that I had gone again to consult the Minister of Health. We had in the discussion of the technical teams yesterday, we had thought that we would allocate Minister of Health some 3.7 billion for quickly procuring treated mosquito nets. But on consultation now, I am happy to report to this House that the Minister of Health has decided to front-load the support that they are getting from Global Fund and get the nets in the country within a few weeks, so that this 3.37 billion that we had wanted for mosquito nets will now be taken to reinforce the Ministry of Works, so that the Ministry of Works, which was originally supposed to get 7 billion, will now get at least 10 billion. The thinking that guided us, Madam Speaker, is that yes, Ministry of Works may not be able to really fix the roads to the level that we want, but what we want them to do is to commit to make the roads navigable, at least so that communities can continue to communicate even in the face of this flooding. So the money that was meant for health, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, will now be transferred to the Ministry of Works, and we will again do whatever it takes to make sure that if a place is flooded and they cannot do a bridge, we have even proposed that they can get what we call inflatable boat, at least to make mothers be able to be moved if they are in problems of labor, for example, be moved from one side of the village to a place where they can access medical support. Right Honorable Speaker, it also occurred to us in the consultation that meteorology, which is supposed to keep us abreast with the unfolding development of the weather conditions, also suffered losses of some of their equipment to the storms. So it has also been decided in our setting that about 150 million be given to the Department of Meteorology just to help them fix basically what they need critically so that they can keep us posted. Right Honorable Speaker, that brings us to the 20 billion that the Minister of Finance accepted and committed yesterday that they will draw from the contingency fund and provide to these 3 ministries for first phase of emergency support. It is, of course, of concern, Madam Speaker, to us that the Department of Meteorology, working with their partners from South Africa, have indicated to us that even when we receive some bit of dry spell, we might get floods early next year, which might be more devastating than what we are witnessing. And against that background, we want to ask that after this, we should not just be doing this emergency response. We must do preparedness and prevention, particularly the desilting of the dams that we asked this House to facilitate the local governments yesterday the dams must be given a priority so that they can minimize the impact of flooding, particularly in the areas where there are plains. Madam Speaker, in brief, that is the summary of how the ministries intend to use this resource, and I want to assure you that, for example, the treated mosquito nets will be given to the entire country. It will be given, all the districts in Uganda will be given those, because the breeding of mosquitoes has been exacerbated by the level of water that is gushing from all corners of the country today. We will be doing the bridges and we will see whatever it takes. We are aware, Honorable Speaker, that there are some new developments, particularly as we talk now between Iganga and Luka, the people cannot access. Many parts of Mount Elgon, including Mbale municipality, a city to be, is in trouble, and we will continue to do whatever it takes to address that. We want to thank you.
Okay. Honour members, I think we had a very lengthy debate on this matter yesterday. We just asked the minister, we have 20 billion, show us how it's going to be used. So I think we accept his paper. Just this for information, not for debate. Next item, next item. Next item. Next item.
Item number 4. Item number 4, Bill second reading, the Institute of Parliamentary Studies Bill.
Honour members, yesterday we had, we're almost concluding. I want to invite Honourable Lanyero. She wanted to speak on that bill yesterday. I want to invite Honourable Itungo. Honourable Lanyero first. 3 minutes. And I think there was Aliek. Oh. Lanyero first.
Aliek.
Lanyero first. Lanyero, then Itungo, then
Thank you.
Aliek. 3 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I want to also add my voice to my colleagues and to thank the mover of the bill.
Okay, ma.
Right Honorable Speaker, I'm one of the beneficiaries of this bill. Last week, I was in the constituency, and my district benefited from IPS training. Right Honorable Speaker, knowledge is power. And for members to be trained, to be able to deliberate is very good. And Right Honorable Speaker, as members of Parliament, when people come on the floor of Parliament or as new members, it is very difficult for them to know how to deliberate. And that is why when we come to Parliament, we get oriented or inducted in the different roles of members of Parliament. But that doesn't cover everything. That is why it is very important for us to support this bill. Right Honorable Speaker, for us to build our capacity as members, we need to support this bill. Right Honorable Speaker, IPS going out, taking this bill out in the community, is also a way of members of Parliament giving back, or Parliament giving back to the community, because it helps them to know the roles of members of Parliament, and also for them to know how to relate with members of Parliament at the district level. We get challenges when we are relating with the local government sometimes, but when the training is done and their capacity is built, and they know that for us to be involved in the district councils, it helps us to bring the issues on the floor of Parliament, then that one becomes a bonus. Right Honorable Speaker, on the issue of the name of the institute, I want to add my voice also to the other members to give the name Right Honorable Rebecca Kadaga Institute. We need to give credit where it's due, Right Honorable Speaker, because you have championed so many things in this Parliament. You started with daycare for the children, and this one, because you have started it, I want to add my voice that it is important that this institute be called Rebecca Kadaga Institute of Parliamentary Studies. And we need to give credit where is due. We have this opportunity where we have a woman as a Speaker of Parliament. We don't know when we are going to have this opportunity again. So now that we have you there, I want to ask my members to back you up on this. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Itungo is not here. Aliek, then Arinda. I think Arinda wanted to speak yesterday, then I come this side. No, you are not here at the end. The ones who are here between 7 and 8 are the ones who will speak today.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, first of all, I would like to thank Honorable Cecilia Barbara Ogwal for bringing this bill on the floor of Parliament. Yesterday, we understood the object of the bill very clearly, Right Honorable Speaker, for building the capacity of members of Parliament, for building the capacity of the local government leaders, and also for building the capacity of the staff of Parliament. Right Honorable Speaker, this bill that has been brought to this August House is Parliament driven. So, which means we have a sense of ownership to this bill. And as it comes out, probably if it will be approved by this Parliament, we shall own it, because the origin is deeply rooted to the members of Parliament. Now, Right Honorable Speaker, when we came to Parliament as first-timers, we really learned in a very hard way. And up to now, we are still continuing to learn, Right Honorable Speaker, although learning is a continuous process. Right Honorable Speaker, when it comes to making maiden speech, it is a disaster to some of us. When it comes to raising even a mere point of order, even point of information and other points of maybe clarification and supplementation, sometimes when you come, you even don't know what you are talking about. So it was a very big challenge. And I would like to say that this bill of Institute of Parliamentary Studies will build our confidence. It will build our capacity, and we shall move forward. And it is very relevant. It has come at an appropriate time. Right Honorable Speaker, I would like to mention that as we deliberate on this bill, I would like to propose the following. One, that we should have the board in place instead of a management committee. And I would like to propose to this House that when we are having the board in place, we should have at least members of Parliament in the top position of the board. I'm proposing that we have like 4 members of Parliament on the board. We should have staff representatives on the board, more especially our clerk to Parliament can be a staff representative in this case. And also, Right Honorable Speaker, since this bill, one of the objects of the bill is to train the local government leaders.
Honorable Arinda, yes? We are moving. Okay, Honorable Aliek. Yes.
Okay. Right Honorable Speaker, I was saying that since one of the objects of the bill is to train even our local government leaders, then we should have a representative on the board from the local government leaders, from among the leaders. Then, Right Honorable Speaker, one other important area that I would like us also to include in the board is the academia. The representative from the academia, since this is going to train all of us, to train even from the local government and also to train our staff. We also like to propose that the academia representative should be on this board. Then above all, Right Honorable Speaker, this is going to be a very big training institute. I'm proposing that we should have an executive director, a substantially appointed executive director to manage this institute. Right Honorable Speaker, I would like to end there, but I fully support this bill. It has come at the right time, and if it is implemented, we shall move a long way in improving our... Okay, information, just 30 seconds. Okay.
Thank you very much, colleague, for allowing my information. I just want to add on what you are saying, that actually, as far as the name is concerned, we had discussed about it some time back in this parliament, saying that we should call this institute Honorable Kadaga Institute. She has championed too many issues, too many things, a lot of areas in this country. For instance, for us who were in the 9th parliament, it was the first time that we saw the gym here, and we were doing practice in the gym, not sleeping anymore. She has championed the sports. On Saturday, we shall be in Kanungu for netball, for instance. We have been moving around all the districts, actually associating with the local leaders. She has championed many areas. So, Madam Speaker and Honorable colleague and the House, I want also support that we take that name, because our babies are okay. We sit in this house. When you feel like going to breastfeed, you just get out to breastfeed and come back. And really, ladies, I am so happy. This is showing who a woman can be. She's the only one. I want to thank you so much.
Honorable Arinda, then we'll go to Nandala, Lianda, Atkins, Muzanira.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. Okay. I'd like to conclude.
Hey.
Yes. Please, just 1 minute.
I had given you 1 minute and then you also gave it away. Okay.
I proceed? Thank you. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I would like to mention that I support the proposal of naming the institute as Rebecca Kadaga Institute of Parliamentary Studies in this parliament. I strongly support it, Right Honorable Speaker, because of the legacy that you have in this parliament. So, ladies and gentlemen, honorable members, I would like us to support it, because first of all, when we came here, it was very hard for us. You are our mentor. You are our everything in this parliament. Without you, we will not even be very strong on the floor of parliament. So it must, and it must be in your name. I support that. Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Yeah, thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, allow me to thank Honorable Cecilia Ogwal for moving this bill as a private member's bill on the floor of parliament. Because, Right Honorable Speaker, this institute is so important, not only for this parliament, but even for the entire region, the East African region, because I think this is a very wonderful idea. Right Honorable Speaker, if you look at members of parliament, I think we have had only one induction, basically when we are entering parliament. And probably we could even be having yearly or mid-term training programs, but we cannot have them maybe because we need such an institute. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I do believe that this institute will give us support in terms of improving our legislative drafting skills, because many of us, maybe our drafting skills may not be at the best, but with this institute, I do believe that it will go a long way. Right Honorable Speaker, the other issues on backstopping local governments, because local governments have a very big problem. Right Honorable Speaker, I was a clerk to council in Bushenyi district way back in 2003, and we had the International Law Institute, which took us through legislative drafting skills. And I want to assure you that when I went back to Bushenyi, I handled a bill called the Bushenyi District Mailunji Consumption Control Bill. And within 1 year, we were able to have an ordinance, the Bushenyi District Mailunji Consumption Control Ordinance, as a result of the skills that I had got from the International Law Institute. So I do believe if this institute works as the International Law Institute, I think we should be able to have capacity built within our local governments. Because, Right Honorable Speaker, I want to assure you, if you go to the local governments and you ask in the last 10 years, how many local governments have come up with ordinances or bylaws, you may be shocked. You may find one or two, especially maybe KCC and a few other municipalities. But the rest, they are not doing it. They are just passing policies. They are not actually enacting ordinances and bylaws. There are very few. I know. I was a clerk to council. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I do believe that this institute will help and backstop most of our local governments, especially in the area of legislative drafting. I thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Unanandala, then Atkins Katusabe, Lianda, and Muzanira.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I will start with first the issue of the status of the institute we want to create. The moment we say it is a body corporate with perpetual succession and a common seal, it means it is no longer in the armpit of Parliament, because it will be on its own. It can sue and be sued. So we can, if we do that to begin with, then that means it will have its own board, which will be determining the affairs of this institute. If you want to compare with the one of the judiciary, it is just part of like a department which does not give certificates. It can give certificates, yes, of attendance, but not recognized as a training institute. So we must determine if we are going to take this way and this way, then it becomes a training institute which must be accredited by National Council of e-Learning so that it can give certificates or degrees for the future. Madam Speaker, if that is always it will be the position, then again submission of their reports will not be to the Commission alone, must be to Parliament. Because the audited accounts, according to this, will be submitted to Parliament. You cannot only look at audited accounts, but you can also be able the one to approve the budget of the entity. Madam Speaker, it's true should train members of Parliament. And if we are saying it must raise money, and you are talking about members of Parliament to be trained there, which member of Parliament will be pay money to be inducted? Nobody. Which local government, knowing this is a government institution to train them, will do it? And if you want to raise money, then it means it must be open the public to pay, to learn maybe parliament acts and whatever. So in this current, if this is what it wants to achieve, even the resources you are talking about to be raised will not be what? Raised. If we
1 minute, just 1 minute.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. If we decide the status now, then, of course, which I want to also agree with Honorable Magezi, what he said yesterday, we need to develop, the institute will be allowed to develop their own curriculum. And the curriculum, again, must be approved by National High Council. And if it becomes a training institution, then it will fall under the Ministry of Education, because all government training institutions fall under Ministry of Education. Now, if we want to do it the way to serve our interests, which I want to turn to, you don't need a law to create a legal entity to operate on its own. It can be same autonomous under the armpit of Parliament, basically for parliamentary studies. But the moment you go this way, then you leave it to go. So, Madam Speaker, for the name, I can't talk about it because the first thing we must sort out, what is this entity? You can baptize it any name you want, but let us sort out what is this institution. And since we were all legally wanting it to train us who are newcomers or continuous training, there is no problem for us to develop a policy to be able to have a training place here with something. We can copy the one of judiciary. In fact, even the judiciary, if you look in the amendment, the judicial bill they have brought here, the judicial administration of the judicial, under their clause 19, they are trying to say we shall try to establish, there will be a department more or less like a training institute. It is there. It's not because it has no legal status of its own. So, Madam Speaker, we must first resolve what do we want. And when we resolve that, then everything will fall in line. But the moment you are going to make it legal, I promise you, those who are saying you are waiting for it, it's no longer your baby. It will go away. I thank you.
Hello, Katusabe.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much. And Honorable Cecilia for the bill. Madam Speaker, the bill is a great bill, but I have reservations with specific ingredients in the bill, and basically something to do with degrees. Madam Speaker, parliaments worldwide or globally are supposed to play a facilitating role. Places and institutions that are support award degrees are gazetted and known. Madam Speaker, I would rather that we focus and condense the institute to a competence center, strengthen the competencies, than really going into degrees. Because the moment you go into degrees, you'll be now confronted with whether you will need a council, whether you need a senate, whether you will need a faculty or a school or a tenure system. I mean, who are these particularly that will take us through the training? Are we going to look at them as tutorial assistants? Will they be teaching assistants? Will they be assistant lecturers? Will they be lecturers? Will they be senior lecturers, associate professors, or professors, distinguished professors, or research professors? I mean, just like we have them in the academia. So I want to believe and ask everybody in the House that the bill is great, but we will allow the universities to continue doing their job. Let us not do or overwhelm ourselves with the burdens that belong to other people. Now, if we are going to look at the institute as a degree awarding, I would rather, Madam Speaker, if really that was our focus or is our focus, nothing really stops us from asking Makerere University, Barrow University, or Chambergo or Gulu, or any government university to have an institute specifically. After all, let's face it, it's universities that are
Please conclude.
yeah. In conclusion, Madam Speaker, we can have this institute based at a university, Makerere University, for instance. And Madam Speaker, you know how much I honor you and I treasure you. And yes, your accomplishments globally speak for themselves. But I'm asking colleagues that we should not introduce something new. Speaker is our speaker. We can't have an institute named after her when she's still head of this institution. It has never happened anywhere. But we also know, because we can be sure, next term, some of us will believe that you're doing a great job and you still have more work to do. What if we say you're coming back as speaker? Now, naming an institute, the Rebecca Kadaga Institute, can only happen when speaker has exited this parliament, has gone up there as vice president or president.
Point of order. Honorable Order.
I rarely move points of order, but I am compelled to do so. I believe my colleague has considered the provisions of Rule 219. The naming of this institute was a decision on a motion in this particular house, and is trying to reconsider the decision contrary to the provisions of Rule 219. And therefore, is this member in order to contravene the provisions of 219?
Honourable members, if one wants to review a decision of the House, it's by motion and it involves voting. So you're out of order.
Much appreciated, Madam Speaker. I think much obliged. I'll think about that. But this is my world. I come from the academia, and I was
Yes, Madam Speaker, I rise on a motion under Rule 8 of our Rules of Procedure. From the general debate, save for one or two individuals, we all seem to be agreed. And if members agree with my motion, we only allow the mover of the motion, Honorable Cecilio Gwar, to justify particular issues raised by Honorable Nandara Mafavi as to why we have decided to incorporate the institute as a legal entity as opposed to the Judicial Service Commission. And then we'll move to the committee stage. So my motion is under Rule 8 that the debate stops, save for allowing the mover of the motion, the mover of the bill, to clarify on the few issues raised by the members. If I am supported by Honorable, most of that.
Sorry, Right Honorable Speaker, I was waiting for instructions. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to clarify on a few areas, very few critical areas. First of all, the name of the bill is not changing, but the name of the institute is the one that we have already decided to change. So those are two different things. The name of the bill is not changing, but is the name of the institute, which is going to change in compliance with the resolution which was passed by this House on the 29th of May this year. That's the first clarification I would want to give. The second one, the reason why we have to give legal status to the IPS, to give it a wider mandate and to allow it to not only deal with internal issues, but also to deal with the external issues. And indeed, I want to appreciate the proposal given by Honorable Nandala, is that once we make it a body corporate, then we need to drive it as a semi-autonomous, which is accountable for its expenditure and will have a fully pledged board and must be run in accordance with the, corporate governance, based on the corporate governance principles. So this will be acceptable. So any proposal in that area, I think I will accept, because it will make this institute to be run professionally, and that will help us to really make it accountable and responsible. I would also comment on the proposal given by a couple of members in your contribution. You propose having members of parliament on the board, and I think a representative of the local government. Indeed, Right Honorable Speaker, the experience in all IPS or Institute of Parliamentary Studies that we have read and we have visited, they are owned by Parliament. And owning it by Parliament means we must make it relevant to our needs. And if we are to make it relevant to our needs, it means there is no way you can leave Parliament out of the governing body. In fact, the example of Nigeria is that the majority of the members of the board are members of the Senate and members of the Assembly. There are 6 members of the Senate and 6 members of the National Assembly, and the president of the Senate is the chair of the board, of the governing board. But I don't think we want to go to that length. But I think the proposal given that members of Parliament be members of the board and representative of the local government and a member of the academia to help us, I think.
Madam Speaker, I'm very passionate about the bill, and that's the reason why in the first place I really supported it. I'm just struggling intellectually. Yes, Nigeria has been cited, Madam Speaker. I'm wondering, apart from Nigeria, do we have something we can learn from either Malaysia or Europe or in the United States that have functioning democracies? Because principles of natural growth demand that we learn from those that have made progress. Would we be procedurally... Don't heckle me, Mr. Nwegaba, please. I'm making a point, and I'm addressing it to Mama. Madam Speaker, would we procedurally in a right direction without focusing on or getting other citations, especially from countries that we want to move apart from Nigeria? I really support the movement for just awareness. I would appreciate if you can give more that add up to that. Thank you.
Now, honour members, first of all, the report was elaborate on their benchmarking, but also I don't think that if you are in Africa, you are not good enough. It cannot be that only the things in Europe are the best, but they benchmarked from the African continent. Yes. So there's no procedural issue there. Please complete.
Right Honorable Speaker, actually his concern justifies the importance of IPS. I think as members we must read widely, we must read the subject which is coming on the floor of Parliament. The report of the committee is very elaborate, and we had also submitted reports of the benchmarking team on the various experiences in other countries. So Right Honorable Speaker, I was just saying that whatever has been proposed on the floor of Parliament is very relevant to the core values, the core functionalities of this IPS. And therefore, if it comes in the amendment, I don't think the committee and the movers of the motion will have any problem with that. I would wish to plead with members that going for a semi-autonomous means we are being cautious. Right now, all the funding of IPS is coming from Parliament, Parliamentary Commission. And we were given certificates of no financial implication on the understanding that the funding of IPS will continue to be the Parliamentary Commission. And therefore, for us to go fully open, to be fully autonomous, it would make it difficult because, first of all, Parliament wants also to own this IPS, to make it relevant for its function. And therefore, we believe giving the IPS semi-autonomous as a first phase, and then as we graduate, as we build more capacity for the IPS, we can maybe move on to have a fully fledged autonomous body. But for now, Right Honorable Speaker, I totally agree with Honorable Nandala's views that we go for the board, and that we will make report to Parliament via the Commission, because the Commission is the one that funds IPS. So IPS will have to look at the Commission will have to look at the financial performance of IPS, and then finally the report will come to Parliament, as we do, Right Honorable Speaker, with parliamentary pension or scheme, because it's also semi-autonomous. It also does report to the Commission and regularly reports also to Parliament. So that's the kind of semi-autonomy that we want to have. But more importantly, members, we must have this IPS relevant for our own unique needs. And we are not about to let it run and be independent and start telling Parliament we are too busy. We want it to be relevant for our functions, for that of members of Parliament and staff of Parliament. And that is the core functions of the IPS. These are the clarification I would like to give, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much. And the members, I put the question that the bill be read for a second time. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. So the members, the two remaining members will be given an opportunity during the committee stage. There were two remaining members. They'll speak at committee stage.
The Institute of Parliamentary Studies Bill 2019, Bills Committee stage. Clause 1.
The interpretation.
Clause 2.
Members, I put the question that clause 2 do stand part of the bill. Clause 2. Do you have an amendment? Honorable Chair.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Clause 2, the establishment of the Institute. Madam Speaker, I propose that there is an addendum. We replace a subclause with the following. There is established an institute to be known as the Institute of Parliamentary Studies, and then there is an addendum. We replace the subclause with the following. There is established an institute to be known as the Rebecca Alitwala Kadaga Institute of Parliamentary Studies. Justification for clarity and better drafting. Bullet 2, to adopt the resolution passed by Parliament on the 29th of May 2019, wherein it was resolved that the Parliamentary Institute be changed to the Rebecca Alitwala Kadaga Institute of Parliamentary Studies.
The question that clause 2 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say aye. Yes, Honorable Nandala.
Aye. Madam Speaker, under clause 2, we're talking about establishment of the institute. But subclause 3, it is saying the institute shall be an agency of government and shall be under the general supervision of the Parliamentary Commission. Madam Speaker, this doesn't really look nice. What I wanted to say, that the institute shall be an agency of government and shall be under the supervision and the control of the Parliamentary Commission. The justification is what Honorable Cicero Ogwara said, so that you remain in charge of the institute.
So you want powers?
I'm saying the institute shall be an agency of government and shall be under the supervision and the control of the Parliamentary Commission.
Honourable members, I put the question that clause 2 be amended as variously proposed. Those in favour say aye, the contrary no. Aye.
Clause 2 as amended.
Put the question that clause 2 as amended do stand part of the bill. Those in favour say aye, the contrary no. Aye.
Clause 3.
Question is that clause 3 do stand part of the bill. Those in favour say aye, the contrary no. Aye.
Clause 4.
Question is that clause 4 do stand part of the bill. Chair.
Right Honourable Speaker, clause 4, the functions of the Institute. I propose the following: to insert immediately after paragraph B the following and renumber accordingly. C, to conduct training for members of Parliament and staff of Parliament on the procedures and practices of regional parliaments and regional assemblies. D, to conduct training for public officers employed in ministries, departments, agencies of government and local government on parliamentary procedures and processes. E, to organize and conduct orientation programs, lectures, and seminars for members of Parliament and staff of Parliament. F, to organize or coordinate international trainings, attachments, study visits, or study tours for members of Parliament and staff of Parliament. G, to conduct training and seminars for accredited media personnel and any other person accredited by Parliament. H, to arrange and conduct seminars, conferences, workshops, and symposiums for members of Parliament and staff of Parliament on the efficient discharge of Parliament's functions. Then I, to determine syllabus for research, training, studies, and for any such subject in respect of research and training provided by the Institute under this law, under this Act. Then J, to award certificates and other qualifications to members of Parliament, staff of Parliament, and other persons trained by the Institute. Madam Speaker, in paragraph C, I suggest we insert the following words immediately after the word parliament. Parliament, that is open quote, national assemblies or regional assemblies, close quote. And then bullet 2, propose we replace paragraph D as follows. D, quote, to offer in-house courses for members of parliament and staff of parliament. And then bullet 3, in paragraph F, replace the word business with the word function. The justification for clarity and better drafting is second justification is for completeness to enumerate the functions of the institute as performed by similar training institutes like in Kenya, Bangladesh, India, and Pakistan.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, on what Honorable Veronica has suggested, I didn't get it where I think it is bullet E. She has suggested that we should include ministries, agencies, and when you look at ministries, it's like they have the provision of trainings within their mandate. And I'm looking at this, making it too extremely wide, as if we shall be training every ministry and every agency. And what I know, we have money we give them for them to have these trainings for their staff and so. So I'm suggesting, Madam Chair, that we remove the ministries and agencies and suggest that we can say that maybe these agencies can collaborate with the institute to train the members on what they do. Because I believe and I'm very much sure that these ministries and agencies know what Parliament is all about. And actually it is the members, most of them, who don't know what these ministries do and what they provide. I want to thank you.
No, honourable members, this training is not general training. And there is only one parliament in the country. So we are the ones who have the best knowledge on parliamentary procedures. It's not about training them for their work. It's about parliamentary procedures.
Secondly.
Yes. Oh, I think I'd given Otieno.
Thank you.
Yes, Madam Speaker, Madam Chair, in relation to the issue being raised, if we have to train these people not for their work and so on, but I wanted for more clarification on J, the award of certificates and other qualifications, and I want to know what will be the equivalence of these certificates that we are going to award and these other qualifications, and if they were to have recognition, maybe at a national, would it require, therefore, are these going to be certified by the National Council of Higher Education for it to have recognition, whereby if other members from outside maybe come and attend this institute, he can use that to attend, to contest for member of parliament, because it can be equated, say, to senior 6, something like that, an equivalent. I need a clarification, Madam Chair, on that.
Chair, can you clarify?
Madam Speaker, that's where I also wanted to begin with. The moment you are saying you are going to award qualifications, it means you are getting an additional qualification in what you have. And to get this one, a certificate is okay. To award a certificate of attendance is okay. Otherwise, the moment you say the institute is now going to award qualifications to members of parliament, and for which qualification is that? Who will be accredited this qualification? Again, if you are saying it should be internally, we want to propose the chair that at least you leave certificates and remove the word qualifications. But Madam Speaker, the other point I wanted to put, of course, in-house training is good. Other ministries coming to learn our procedures is good, and that's how we are going to raise money, if because of training. But what I wanted to put across, Madam Speaker, I wanted to find out, before I can make a judgment, are we going to recruit lecturers? Are we going to recruit, who are going to be the trainers of this institution, so that we can clearly move with an understanding. So I want to ask Madam Chair of the committee, who are going to be the teachers or the trainers of this?
Now, before the chair comes, let me answer the question which Honorable G.S. raised yesterday. We have established that both the judiciary and URA do not issue academic qualifications. They issue just certificates of participation. So that's what we are going to do. We are not going to equivalent of a diploma or anything like that. We're not going there. But chair can clarify. Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to thank the people who raised issues. Certificates, what kind of certificates or other qualifications do we award? Yesterday, during the debate, we agreed that the functions of the institute be expanded. And this is one of those that we added as a principle for the institute to come up with what certificate. In this case, I think we are talking about certificates of attendance, as other institutions are doing. And as we move on, we improve our own institution. But as we establish this, I would want us to look at the holistic picture that we actually establish the institute. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Honour members, I put the question.
Madam
On Honourable Noelin, and then Tomhira, then the Minister.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson. Given the explanation from the Chair, can I propose then that J be adjusted and we remove the word qualification to read to award certificates and certificates of attendance to members of Parliament and staff of Parliament and other persons trained by the Institute.
Madam Chair, I would agree to removing other qualifications, but I would not want at this stage to qualify the award of a certificate and call it certificate of attendance.
Let's just leave it as certificate. Honourable Tomhira.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In part, Madam Chair, in part, where they are talking of the syllabus, in my own opinion and experience in education, I think this is a misplaced word. A syllabus is an academic document that communicates information about specific course and defines expectations and responsibilities. So when you say syllabus, it indicates that the certificate that they award to the trainees are academic documents which need recognition by National Council for Education. In this case, I would propose that they use training guidelines, not syllabus. Thank you.
Honour members, first put the question that new clause will be added as proposed by the chair. Secondly, that the original D be deleted, and that I and J be adjusted by removal of the word qualification, and in the other one by the removal of the word syllabus, and substitute with the curriculum.
Slight amendment.
Slight amendment, Chair.
I think
It's a slight one, but important.
I've got the Minister of Health.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to agree with the honorable member who has made that proposal, but I was also looking at particularly when we say to offer inbound courses for members of parliament and staff of other parliaments. Right, Honorable Speaker, if we don't define inbound courses, then it's... Yeah, if it is in-house, still we have to define it, because in the definition it's missing, so that people know what exactly are these in-house courses that we're talking. I'm just trying to make a proposal. Thank you.
They have already talked about the training manual, and this is an institute of parliamentary studies, so it is nothing else other than parliamentary studies. Let's not look beyond that. Exactly. So don't even go to in-house study and define each and everything. It's parliamentary studies. Ordinarily what you do in the parliament.
Honourable members, I put the question that clause 4 be amended as proposed.
Madam Speaker.
Those
Madam
in favour
Chair.
say aye, the contrary no. Let's have it.
Clause 4 as amended.
Put the question that clause 4 as amended do stand part of the bill. Those in favour say aye, the contrary no. Let's have it.
Clause 5.
Put the question that clause 5 do stand part of the... You have an amendment here?
Madam Chair, this is a clause where we really had a lot of harmonization, the initial clauses, and then we had to sit with the proposer of the bill, I mean the mover of the bill. Madam Chair, I propose that we replace clause 5 as follows. 5, management of the institute. 1, immediately after the parliamentary commission, we insert the word parliamentary. The parliamentary commission shall be the overall policy body of the institute and shall be responsible for the strategic direction of the institute. 2, notwithstanding subsection 1, there is established a management board. Madam Speaker, I want to substitute the word board with the word committee, and thereafter it will be board, which shall be responsible for the management and administration of the institute. 3, the management committee shall be designated by the parliamentary commission and shall consist of, Madam Chair, we propose the first one, which should be A, 4 members of parliament, then B, the clerk to parliament, who shall be the chairperson. I think this, who shall be the secretary. So we substitute chairperson with secretary, and then we propose we delete B, the old B, and delete C, and then we go ahead with D, a lecturer at a recognized university who is at the level of senior lecturer or above, and who possesses knowledge and experience in capacity building, training, or research in parliamentary functions. The numbers will change, I'm sorry, but then E, representative from the Ministry of Local Government, not below the rank of a commissioner. And then F, initially it was I want to propose to insert the word executive before the director. The executive director, who shall be the secretary, will need to harmonize this with the clerk, because, yeah, and we stop there at the executive director, who shall be the secretary.
No, but we've already given the clerk that work.
The clerk is the secretary.
Who shall be ex-officio?
Who shall be
the director?
Okay.
Member by
ex officio. Okay. Madam Chair, I will agree with that because there's duplication up there.
So there is no G?
Sorry?
G is out.
G is out, please.
Procedure. Procedure, Madam Chair.
Allow to move amendments first.
Then four,
It's a good procedure, Madam.
the member,
Let her finish her presentation first.
Madam Speaker is harassing me, I don't know why.
Eh?
Four, the member of the management board referred to above, we are suggesting a new paragraph B, shall be appointed by the parliamentary commission. So this board, Madam Speaker, we are proposing is appointed by the parliamentary commission. B is paragraph E, shall be nominated by the minister responsible for local government. That's when we talk about the appointment of from the local government. And then 5, delete 5. And then 6 is amended as follows. Save for members referred to in subsection 3A, B, C, and F. The other members of the management board shall serve for a term of 2.5 years, which may be renewed. Number 7, the members of the management board shall be paid such honoraria or allowances as determined by the parliamentary commission. Insert the word parliamentary before the commission. Then 8, the commission may at any time suspend or terminate the appointment of a member of the management board for A, abuse of office, B, corruption, C, incompetence, D, any physical or mental incapacity that renders a person incapable of performing the duties of that office. E, failure to attend 3 consecutive management board meetings without reasonable grounds. Or F, being adjudged bankrupt by a court of law. 9, notwithstanding subsection 6, a member of the management board may at any time A, resign from that office, or B, be removed from that office if that member ceases Roman 1, to be a staff in the parliamentary service, Roman 2, to occupy the office in the parliamentary service, entitling the member for appointment on the management board, or Roman 3, to be a staff of the ministry nominating him or her for appointment to the management board. And then 10, subject to the powers of the parliamentary commission, we insert parliamentary before commission, and without prejudice to the generality of subsection 2, the committee shall have power to A, recommend for approval by the commission, parliamentary commission, programs of the institute. B, administer the property and funds of the institute. C, receive on behalf of the institute or parliament gifts, donations or grants meant for the institute. And D, exercise any other power that may be granted to the institute by the commission. Madam Speaker, Madam Chair, the justifications, you realize we included 4 MPs. So the first bullet would be to include members to the management board is in recognition of the core role of the institute to build the capacity of members of parliament. Bullet 2, to include the clerk to parliament in the membership of the board, in recognition of the clerk's role and centrality in the management of the parliamentary commission. Bullet 3, to ensure the members of the board are designated by the parliamentary commission. Bullet 4, to substitute for the word steering committee, the word management board. And then the final bullet, to separate the tenure of members of the management board designated from outside parliament from those occupying certain offices in parliament whose tenure ends when they vacate the office they occupy.
Yes,
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I want to thank the Chair again. To begin with, we have added members of Parliament, and you are saying there will be competition. How can, if you have had a competition, then you go to be designated by the Parliamentary Commission? I think if where the competition has taken place, the competition has already designated that person to the board. 2, a management board means there's already a board up. So you're creating a management board. Wouldn't it be better, Madam Chair, that we delete management committee and put board? The justification is that even in that board, they can decide to create what we call a management team there, whatever, which looks at management things and whatever. So the moment you make it a management board, then such committees will miss, because the management committee is basically for the top management of an institution, not the board. So I wanted us to suggest that we delete that. Now, Madam Chair, the reason why I stood up on procedures, I would have thought that we would go step by step, because the Chair has read many things. If we make a mistake, we could have a problem with the law. I would have proposed that maybe she reads a part, we agree, she reads a part, we agree. Because now if we talk up to the end, the removal of a member from the office, she has not spoken about a member of parliament. The moment you cease to be a member of parliament is not in parliamentary service. A person in parliamentary service is a what? A staff. So for a member of parliament who is in a committee, he can be removed from office by ceasing to be a member of parliament, not being in parliamentary service. Because if we we say it should be that, then there will be no problem. Madam Speaker, I want to submit recommend.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, Madam Chair. First, on the management committee, Honorable Nandal is right. It's assuming there is a board above. But my understanding is, number one is the commission, which is above that management board. So the essence of the board is really for the management and administration of the institute. The policy matters are handled by the commission, which is above the management board. So I would really maintain the naming, the management board. I think for me, we do not need members of parliament on the management board. Members of parliament are already on the commission, which supervises, which has the overall management of the whole thing. Now, when you put member of parliament on the board, and the clerk is the chair of the board, you see a problem. It was changed. So then we need to agree on who is the chairperson. We need to agree on how the chairperson is determined. Then also under number 3, the management board shall be designated by the parliamentary commission. Chair, I think we should be specific right from the start that this board shall be appointed by the parliamentary commission. They are designated, for example, the member from the local government by the minister and so on. But I think here we're talking of how this is constituted and formed. It is not designated but appointed by the parliamentary commission. And finally, the director, who is the secretary? How is the director? We've changed it. That's the clerk. Okay, thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay. Honour members, I put the question that clause 5. Yes, Honourable Swart.
Madam Chair, I don't want any idea where they say members of parliament should not be part. Then we shall be kicked out. I would think members should be part. That's when we shall know the day-to-day running of this institute. However, I want to suggest that at least one member should be a female, because when you just leave, we can marginalize. And also when we talk about appointing, I would propose we borrow leave from the commission that maybe others will come from independent, because when we leave it in the NRM, we can decide and we vote only ours, and we shall disadvantage the Honorable Wagabas unless he crosses to the side. So I don't want to wear a scenario, what is happening in the commission, it even comes here, members will lose trust and confidence in this institute. So bring a proposal that at least if there are 4 members of parliament, maybe half. Why can't women be half? 2? Okay? 1. Okay, whatever members. So at least there is female, but also representation, because when we come here, we might go to caucus and we lose out, and they will say that institute is like Chankwanzi, and they don't come and want it to be together. That's my idea.
So can you make the proposal? Can you make a proposal?
Yeah. Yes.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I just want to clarify on this particular point. The practice all over, whether you go to Kenya or Nigeria or India, Pakistan, all this, the institute, the parliamentary institute, is owned by parliament, and they take responsibility in designing the policies and ensuring that the programs of training are relevant to their needs. So to have a parliamentary institute without members of parliament being represented It now leaves the institute being managed by.
But who has made that amendment? There's no proposal that is.
I thought that's what had come from someone.
There's no amendment.
Chair, I dropped that.
Okay,
members,
you have come out of that. Okay.
Then, members,
Madam Chair,
we
the
agree
issue of
on the
women.
four.
The issue of women.
make a proposal.
I'm proposing that out of the 4 members, at least 1 should be female